Well, overall, agriculture has obviously got a bright future, but we've got a lot of headwinds at the moment, especially with government policy around live export and even the biosecurity levy that's being proposed at the moment. But what we're seeing is a disconnect in some regards to what we see as the vision of agriculture and some of the policies that are coming out of government. And I guess that's my role, is to both highlight and advocate for farmers to make sure that we are putting good policy in place and making sure that we're keeping the government, the politicians informed about the consequences of those decisions. Obviously, it's trying to make sure that farmers have got the maximum opportunity to be productive and earn a dollar. And for us, there is some key issues around infrastructure, some key issues around making sure they're getting access to markets that we're not seeing aligned with some government policy at the moment. And it is about making sure that the voice is heard, both in Canberra, but also getting a little bit louder and trying to let the community understand why these issues are important to them as well. On a daily basis, I will get a phone call about things to make sure that we're talking about the diesel rebate and how important that is, making sure they've got access to workforce, making sure that we're talking about water and ensuring that the changes to the water policy at the moment isn't detrimentally hurting the productivity of regions, especially in the regulated irrigated systems, which seem to be a target of water buybacks. I get conversations around making sure that we've got access to capital and the future generations of farmers coming through, and the troubles that we're having with succession planning, let alone some of the OH&S disasters that we've seen on farm, and making sure that we're talking about mental health. So as my CEO keeps telling me, we're a mile wide and an inch thick in a lot of these issues, but the key part is to make sure that we're focused on one and two at a time, get some heat and light around them, and then if we see the opportunity to insert ourselves into those conversations, once again, both at the political level and also at the community level. For farmers, obviously we work in sometimes very isolated situations, and we work really hard in our businesses, but an opportunity to come together for the purpose of celebrating agriculture is something that we don't miss out on. So the social aspect for this is fantastic, to meet people that generally don't see each other over numerous amount of time, but also then to talk about really important issues. So a lot of the time I get people who've never met before coming up to me, giving me some direct feedback about how we're tracking on some policies, which gives me some good ground testing, a bit of heat mapping, I guess, on how we travel. And that's one thing about agriculture. Not only are we passionate about what we do, we're also passionate about our industries, and that helps me sort of shape both what we're doing, but also to make sure I'm not missing anything. So for me, it's a really important opportunity to engage. It's a great opportunity to hear from people who are on the ground, who I may not necessarily see a lot of the time, but also the great part is to showcase the technology and some of the key issues that are facing beef producers that we only really get to highlight every 3 years in this format. Well, what we've seen in agriculture is a lot of the advancements and a lot of the time saving and efficiencies and productivity has come from technology itself, and we probably don't recognise what we do anyway. So for me, it is about making sure you've got that cost benefit analysis under control, that you understand what the benefit is, but also making sure you're seeing what's coming on that horizon, because even though you may not be able to afford it today, and it may not be applicable tomorrow, it's about making sure that you're structuring your business to utilise every bit of data source, and that usually comes from that technology, to make better decisions. Because at the heart of agriculture, it is that balance between the decisions we make, the trade-offs that are made behind that decision, but focusing on both profitability and productivity to make sure that we are here again today and tomorrow for the next generation. Well, there's a couple of things that I'm totally positive about agriculture, and that first of all is the fact that everyone needs to eat. And in Australia, not only do we have a variety of different foods, we've also got a choice within that food sector about how they're produced and how we promote it. So I think that we've got a very rich agricultural production systems. We've also got a great story to tell the world. And when we crack those international markets, we are able to attract that high value consumer, our products walk off the shelves, and we know that we've got quality. It's about us talking about what we do and how we do in the language of the consumer. And for me, that's the next frontier, using data to both make great decisions on farm and then also to back up what we do and how we do to give the consumer confidence, and also the consumer ability to know that they're purchasing quality, they're purchasing a whole system behind the steak that they're eating, the vegetables that they're eating. It's not just the product, it's the value behind that product. As far as the agricultural community goes, we sometimes abide the problem within ourselves a lot more than what we actually take action to. So for us, it is understanding that there is only one game, and that game is to make sure that we are adequately supplying the consumer with both the product and the information that they need. That means that we have to tell the story about what and how we do, but also the decisions that we do to make the food that we have. So yes, if you want us to be organic, there's a cost impact. There's a production impact. If you allow us to use the best techniques, this is when we can make the cost of living less. We can actually make the food more reachable to the general consumer. But we have to be able to tell that story, and I guess it's a little bit on us to take that mantle on. You can't expect consumers who are both busy in their world to be able to understand the intricacies of ag. We have to actually make the message very simple, tell it constantly, and also provide that extra resources for if they do want to scratch further, that they can get some truth behind the different array of information that's out there.